After their final battle, the great hero and the Demon King lost all their powers. Time passed, and Blade enrolled at Rosewood Academy with one goal in mind: to make friends and live a normal life. She becomes friends with Ernest, the top student, as he helps her break a curse. He also befriends Sophie, a mock version of himself created to be a replacement for the great hero. Blade later adopts a dragon, who transforms into a little girl. He names her Ku. The students at Rosewood Academy face off against the dragon Ku and manage to defeat her, earning Ku's respect and friendship. Later, Blade goes to the nursery for a checkup with the doctor. The doctor informs him that he's slowly recovering, about 30%. Blade asks if he can use his hero powers again, but the doctor warns him that using 30% of his full power could be fatal. After leaving the office, Blade wanders around the school and is called by Claire, who wants to introduce him to her friend, Maria. Blade interrupts the introduction because he remembers Maria's struggles during magic training. He mentions that Maria was clumsy and often misdirected her magic spells, but he does so without being mean or judgmental. Maria admits her clumsiness, but Claire mentions that Maria has a favor to ask Blade. Maria confesses that she's not human and wants Blade to kill her if she ever loses control. Blade confirms that he already knew Maria is a night demon. Maria reveals her pointy ears and explains there's a powerful magical being inside her that she can't fully control, as evidenced by her accidentally breaking her cup of British leaf water. Blade tries to reassure her, but she shares that her loss of control started after a battle against someone named Coop. Since Maria's parents are gone, Maria has no place to go if she gets expelled from the academy. Claire explains they both came from the same school, and Maria just wants to find a place where she belongs by dealing with her powers. Blade agrees to help Maria with her inner struggle. Sophie and Ku join the group, and together they plan to create an orphan school club. Their plan is to go to the training ground, set up a barrier, and encourage Maria to release her power so she can learn to control it. Maria is hesitant, but Blade reminds her that if Ernest could do it, she can too. With encouragement from Ernest, she puts her faith in Blade. She drops one of her bracelets, reducing her power by half, and they notice 3 more bracelets and a necklace that further reduce her power by 10. Suddenly, Maria's power is unleashed, and she transforms into what appears to be a succubus, but it turns out to be the real Demon Lord. The Demon Lord asserts her dominance, commanding everyone to kneel before her. Blade urges Maria to believe in them. The Demon Lord is celebrating her rebirth and declares her intent to control the world. Sophie questions if the being before them is the Demon Lord truly, but Blade disagrees. However, the crest on her head suggests otherwise. Ernest tries to attack Maria in her transformed state with his demon sword, but the real Demon Lord easily deals with him. Leonard also meets a similar fate when he steps forward. Sophie jumps on the Demon Lord's back and uses Ultima Gravity to pull her down, while Ku, in his dragon form, casts a fire spell. Despite their efforts, Sophie exhausts all her magic power and collapses. Ku attacks, but the Demon Lord effortlessly turns it into a crystal and throws it back at them. Seeing his friends defeated, Blade rushes in with his sword to strike her. The Demon Lord questions Blade's intentions, as he had not unsheathed his sword before. She taunts him to fight seriously or face death. Using a wind spell, she hurls him against a barrier, warning him to take the fight seriously or perish. Blade acknowledges that he's still recovering, but refuses to give up. He finally decides to take the fight serious, but the Demon Lord easily stops his attacks with her bare hands. He steps back, and she uses a fire spell, urging him not to die too quickly. Blade tries to block the attack with his sword, but his blade is destroyed in the process. Ernest gets up and suggests using the demonic sword to fight the Demon Lord. Asmodeus is reluctant, but he follows Ernest's command as he has no other choice. The Demon Lord anticipates an amusing fight, but Blade is focused solely on finishing it quickly. Despite her mocking, he channels his power, ignoring Asmodeus's warning about his immense strength. Blade uses his full power against the Demon Lord, who blocks it with a barrier, thinking it would be too simple. However, she is taken aback when her spell begins to break apart. Blade eventually defeats her with his full power, ensuring nobody dies. After the battle, Blade collapses, and later he wakes up in the nurse's office, where the doctor embraces him and scolds him for worrying about her. The doctor explains that Blade briefly died, and if she hadn't arrived in time, he might not have woken up again. She reminds him of his promise not to make her cry, but he failed this time. Blade apologizes and asks about the others. The doctor reassures him that they are all safe, with Claire tending to them. He then inquires about Maria, and the doctor confirms that she is also alive. If you've been enjoying this content so far, don't forget to show your support by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. It really helps keep me motivated to keep making these anime recaps. A day later, things seem to have returned to normal, but Maria is still stuck in her Demon Lord form. She greets Blade as the hero, but he tries to silence her, realizing she now has something to use against him in the future. Blade advises Maria to stop, but she explains that Maria is a separate personality from her. He asks the Demon Lord for her name, but she reveals she was never given one. Blade decides to consult the king, who reveals that he knew about Maria's identity all along. He explains that Maria's mother was a human, and her father is the former Demon Lord, whom Blade had defeated. Maria, the Demon Lord's daughter, adapted quickly to her new life, behaving like an ordinary girl. The nurse complains about Maria's behavior, as she just wants to wear cute clothes, but Maria flirts with the boys instead. The students give her a nickname, Mao, and she expresses her desire for a rematch against Blade someday. At night, Mao knocks on Blade's window while Ku is sleeping. She invites him on a date and carries him up in the air. She keeps calling him the great hero and mentions that Maria used to spend a lot of time gazing at the moon. Blade asks how old she is, and she explains that she became self-aware 5 years ago. Blade is confused because she doesn't seem like a 5-year-old, but she clarifies that magical beasts don't have conventional ages. She takes him to the rooftop, insisting that she doesn't want to be treated like a child. Blade is puzzled by her statement, and she playfully asks if he can't see that she's not just a child. However, Blade doesn't pick up on her hints. Mao admits feeling attached to Blade, but he doesn't notice her feelings. She reveals that she chose to stay at the school because of him. Blade assumed she was enjoying her school life, which she confirms, but she also mentions that magical beasts are drawn to strength. Mao admits her attachment to him, but is perplexed because she doesn't understand why, especially since she feels that he has become weaker in the past couple of days. Blade reveals that if he uses 15% of his power, he will die. Mao says he's not worthy of being killed by her now, but she won't leave the school until she gets the chance. She holds his hand and admits to having a theory that she might love him, but she is uncertain. Blushing, she asks if he wants to be her partner, but Blade is too young and innocent to understand the meaning. Mao also realizes she's just 5 years old, so the idea is impractical. They agree it would be better to fight in the testing ground until they are satisfied, but Mao refuses due to Blade's current condition and the restraining necklace. Blade inquires about Maria, and Mao explains that Maria's consciousness still exists within her, and prevents her from removing the necklace. Mao reveals Maria's past, filled with fear and bullying by humans, leading her to hide with her mother. Maria's mother always believed her husband, the former Demon Lord, would come back, but Maria never shared that belief. When Maria's mother died, she felt abandoned and blamed the Demon Lord for her suffering. Mao emerged as a way for Maria to escape the pain she endured. Mao believes Maria may never appear again, but appreciates Blade's connection to the demon side. A few days later, they study Mao's necklace and find that it's not a stealing item. Instead, Mao is being restricted by it. They learn the necklace contains a recorded message for Maria. Mao reveals she received it from her mother. Eliza, who is researching the necklace, explains that the recorded message could bring Maria back and potentially defeat the Demon Lord. Despite the risks, Mao decides to play the message because she cares about Maria. When the recording is activated, they see an image of the previous Demon Lord. Demon Lord begins the recorded message by apologizing for leaving Maria and her mother behind when he had to face the great hero. He didn't want them to be involved in a violent path. When he discovered Maria's mother was pregnant, he decided on a name for the child and asked her to tell the child he was dead. Mao finds Maria deep in her mind and urges her to stop hiding. Maria takes Mao's hand and they listen to their father's message, where he expresses his eternal love for both Maria and her mother. This heartfelt message makes both Mao and Maria cry. Mao explains to the group that she and Maria are fighting within their mind to determine who will survive. Maria is on the verge of destroying Mao. Mao asks the group to call out Maria's name, and they do so. Maria then loses consciousness and falls to her knees, allowing Maria to gain control of her body. She asks Blade to duel her, and she transforms into Mao during the fight. It turns out that they have found a way to coexist because Maria wished for it, but their duel ends up being more of a strange interaction. Blade seems more interested in flirting with Mao, despite her being 5 years old. And that wraps up this episode. If you've enjoyed the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us.